What's going on, BrewTube? It's your host, Shannon Harris, aka the Brew Brother here, and I thank you again for tuning in to my YouTube channel. If this is your first time around, hit that subscribe button. Today, we are going to be unboxing a 128-ounce uKeg courtesy of GrowlerWerks. Awesome. First, shout out to GrowlerWerks. You guys are epic for sending me this product. I've been able to use it a few times, and I'm overly impressed. Let's get into it. This beaut is a beast. No pun intended. But this is 128 ounces, stainless steel, got that brushed steel look to it, durable brass fittings for the handle that you would carry it with, and also the tap handle as well. This product only comes in 3 pieces, so it makes it easy to assemble. You got the actual uKeg. You got the cap where you control the PSI levels of how much pressure you want the draft pours to come out. Comes with 2 CO2 cartridges, but I did order more from Amazon because you can never have too many. And then the actual canister case that holds the CO2 cartridges. Now let's get into some of the other cool aspects of this uKeg. You have the GrowlerWerks embedded brass handle on there securely, sturdy, durable. I've had this thing full of beer, swung it around a few times, just trying to force carb it with a home brew. Hasn't got loose in any way. I accidentally dropped this bad boy once, and there's no dings, scratches, or anything, so it's high quality stuff. You can see that there's some Teflon tape wrapped around the back of the draft handle. I will get into that later as to why I've done that. Here's one of the key aspects of the uKeg, and that is the cap. Here is where you would control your PSI levels depending on the style of beer, and that's going to pressure release the beer for cool draft pours, comfort of your own home or party, whatever. Here's a CO2 canister. You just insert an actual CO2 cartridge in there, twist it on, and you're good to go to start serving beer. Make sure that when you get a growler fill that the place purged the uKeg with CO2 before connecting that lid and filling the beer. So I did state that it does come with 2 CO2 cartridges, as you can see here. These aren't the 2 that are included. These are from the extras that I purchased, but I have noticed that with every fill, you do have to use a new CO2 cartridge every time. I'm not too sure if it's because I have 128 ounces and it just uses it all. Maybe it doesn't with a 64 ounce uKeg. So you just simply insert the CO2 cartridge into the canister, and I'm gonna try this with one hand, bear with me. But you just connect that, twist it on. Now, once you securely twist it on, you're gonna hear a small pop and a hissing sound. That's gonna let you know that the CO2 cartridge is loaded and ready to go. I do recommend twisting it on as fast as possible so you don't waste any CO2 when twisting those 2 parts together. Now that we have all of the components connected, you just simply twist on the cap, and with the silver knob on the top, that is how you're going to adjust your PSI levels to serve your beer. Now, as mentioned, it does come with a little booklet that has recommendations for PSI levels depending on the style, but it all is based upon preference. So find your own setting that works great for you. You can see there is a little pin lock on the actual draft handle here. If you slide it over to the left, you'll see that there's a black ring to let you know as an indicator that the draft handle is on or open. I highly recommend that when getting a growler pour, to slide it back to the right, make sure that black ring is not visible, because that's going to be in the locked or off position. It sucks when getting a growler fill and all of your beer just pours out. So I do have the uKeg filled with one of my home brews called Orenthal James IPA. It is a New England style IPA, so you're going to get some haziness. It's tropical, juicy, fan favorite. I actually won a home brew award for this beer earlier this year, so why not give an example of how draft pours work with the uKeg than with an award-winning beer. Here are some samples. Right now, I have my PSI set to a little bit over 10, just to give you guys an example that if you over purge or set your PSI levels too high, depending on the style, you're going to get some pretty hard and heavy pours. Now, 10 plus in this small uKeg is a little bit much for an IPA. So it's going to come out with a lot of head, a lot of foam, and it's just going to pour hard and ugly. But that's why you want to adjust your PSI levels to make sure they're right. So let's go ahead and pull from the uKeg. You can see that it's shooting out of there. Now I got a glass full of foam. Another reason to it, some people may say boo to that pour, and it's because I didn't tilt the glass. I am using one hand right now as I'm holding the camera, but I have tilted the glass just personally, and it still pours hard like that. So right now I got the PSI level set to about 7 to 8 right now. You can see that the beer came out a little bit more with beer instead of head. So it looks much better than my last pour. But I have noticed that the PSI levels do need to come down a little bit more than that for an IPA. Usually when I take a pour from the uKeg, I like to keep the glass under the draft handle. As you can see here, it does have an issue with dripping. So if you do have it at a friend's house or on your countertop or in your fridge and you take a pull, there are going to be drips and it will create a little bit of a mess. So I always have paper towels on the side. So here is another pour with the PSI levels a little bit under 5, maybe about 4.5. And I've noticed that when doing IPAs, that's about the sweet spot when taking pours. As you can see here, there's a little bit of drippage on the table. Sucks, but it does happen. So always keep a paper towel on hand. So besides the drips from the faucet or the draft handle, I'm still overall satisfied with the product. It is a beautiful thing to look at. When I bring it into a bar or a brewery, all heads turn from the customers, even from the staff, and everyone wants to know, where did I get this product from and how can they get one because they need one now. So it's a great way to meet new people when drinking beer because it's a conversation starter. So it's pretty amazing. I do want to talk about something I mentioned earlier in the video, is the Teflon tape on the back of the faucet or draft handle. I docked a few points. I do give the uKeg a 9 out of 10, but I did dock points for that because when I first got 128 ounces filled for the first time, I lost 64 ounces of beer overnight. And if you're a beer lover like me and work hard for your money, it kind of sucks when you have to spend that much money to get 128 ounces filled. You pretty much got to buy 2 64-ounce growlers, and I lost half of that overnight. So I did put Teflon tape on the back of it, which did stop the leak, but GrowlerWerks is pretty nice. They offer to replace the product or send me a tool to tighten that faucet to make sure that the leak doesn't happen anymore. And they were very responsive, but I just took my own wrench to it and tightened it. That's why it slants to the left. So I'm sure I can remove that Teflon tape. That is my review of the GrowlerWerks uKeg. I hope I helped you make a decision with getting one yourself. It is an amazing product that every beer lover needs. So until next time, cheers.